Welcome to the Stop Down Photography Podcast, episode 85. I'm Scott Davenport. Today's topic is just get out there with your camera. Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I'm glad to be back with you for another chat about photography, this shared passion of ours. And in today's episode, let's take one more step on our never-ending journey of photography. Recently, I hosted a small group for a photo outing at the beach, and it had been a long time since I'd met up with a group for a photo outing. And to be honest, it was my first field shoot in a while too, a few weeks. I gotta tell you, it was energizing, and I want to share some thoughts and observations about it with you in today's episode. If you enjoy the podcast, please share it with a friend on social media, with your camera club, and if you can, please leave a rating for the podcast. Fresh ratings help other photographers find out about the show. iPhone, macOS users, you can rate directly in Apple Podcasts, and anyone can leave a rating via the web at podchaser.com. Links in the show notes. So about a week ago, as I record this, I hosted this photo outing for a San Diego area camera club, and this was the first live workshop I've done since 2019. Yeah, 2019. Nearly 2 years. It was a group of 9 photographers, and we headed down to La Jolla, one of my favorite stretches of California coast, for a sunset shoot. For several in the group, this was a first foray into seascape photography. And with all firsts, there is that mix of excitement and nervous uncertainty. I actually think that's a good state for artists to be in. Maybe not all the time, but certainly some of the time. It means we're probably going to learn something, and that will advance our craft. So we're down at the beach, climbing around the rocks, while the sun is still reasonably high off the horizon, working compositions, finding the angles, paying attention to the surf. It was rising, and yeah, a few of us got splashed. And some of the folks were learning how to use filters to increase exposure times, get different looks and moods on the water. And after about 45 minutes or so, everyone's settling in. I checked in with the members of the group. They're all finding their groove. And there was this collective shift, this change in mood. That nervous uncertainty at the beginning of the shoot, that had really fallen away. The photographers that, say, weren't sure how to work with filters or were just learning an hour ago, well, now they're capturing long exposures. They're anticipating the action of the surf, reviewing their shots, nodding to themselves in approval. And you know that grimaced look us photographers get, that one when we're working a composition and we can't quite get it right? Well, those looks had faded away. The camera adjustments and tripod repositioning, those little micro adjustments we make, those had settled out. And these photographers, these 9 photographers, they had confident stances. They were ready, waiting for nature to present the right light. And even other photographers, not part of my group that had arrived for their own adventure at the beach that day, their body language suggested that same kind of progression. Scouting, test shots, refinements, and then poised for action. Now, I didn't capture that many photos myself. I usually don't when I'm hosting a group. My attention is on the group. Yet just being there, I was part of this collective experience. A set of photographers scattered across a few hundred feet of beach. Some I knew, others I didn't. But there was this sense of connectedness. This thing called photography brought us together, and it was energizing. So I encourage you, pick up your camera, just get out there. I think you'll be happy you did. A couple of extra thoughts about this outing I just described. It's part of a larger workshop that I'm still in the middle of running. We started virtual, like a meet and greet, talk about what we're going to do, cover some of the basics for capturing good seascape photos. We have our physical outing, and then we're going to meet again in a couple more weeks and talk about our images, share experiences, so we elevate the knowledge of the whole group. That's kind of the point of that wrapping up and sharing all the information. Yes, we'll share photos and we'll talk about the ones that are great, but also What did we learn? What are we going to do on the next outing? Keep progressing the art. But I bring this up because this mix of physical and virtual, it's been intriguing. And I'm eager to see how the arc of this style of workshop finishes up. And maybe it will open the door for other virtual events. And to that, I have a question for you. If I were hosting a virtual workshop, what topic would you want it to be about? What thing would you want to know more or learn more about photography? If you got thoughts, head over to stopdownpodcast.com, use the contact form, and send me what's on your mind. I'd like to hear from you. And speaking of workshops, I am also preparing for Oregon Coast workshops coming in November. I think for the next podcast, I'll share some things about how I'm preparing for that workshop, because it's more than just, well, what gear are you going to pack? What's going in your bag? What locations are you going to visit? I'm thinking about what artistic goals I have for the types of photos I want to capture, or at least hope to capture. And let me save that for the next podcast. I think that'll be a good topic to talk about. And as I wrap up this episode, thanks as always to the members of our Patreon group. It is your support that keeps the podcast going. You make these episodes possible, and I thank you very, very much for that. My thanks also to anyone who's supported the show, because there are many zero-cost ways you can support Stop Down Podcast: sharing it with a friend, with your camera club, leaving a rating. There are lots of different ways. There are links in the show notes where you can learn about both free ways that you can support this show, as well as more details about our Patreon community. And if you're on the web, every page of stopdownpodcast.com, there is a support the show button. Hit that, and that page has everything that you need to know. And with that, I'll sign off for this week. I do hope you get out there with your camera. Just get outside, get working with your camera. You'll be happy you did. I know I was very happy to do this meetup. And if you're stuck in a rut or trying to get over a certain hurdle, this might be the week you do it. Just get on out there. Fire off a few frames. And until next time, my name is Scott Davenport. Have fun.